Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Tokyo Gore Police, a Japanese horror action gore flick from 2008 that was directed by Yoshihiro Nishimura, who served as a special effects supervisor on The Machine Girl. Now, I reviewed The Machine Girl last week on my channel, so it only made sense to review its 2008 companion piece tonight. Now, this film is set in near-future chaotic Japan. A mad scientist known as the Key Man has created a virus that mutates humans into monstrous creatures called engineers that sprout bizarre weapons from any injury. So the Tokyo police force has been privatized to deal with this new threat of engineers. So a special squad of officers called engineer hunters are created to deal with them. However, unlike the average police force, the engineer hunters are a private quasi-military force that utilize violence, sadism, and streetside executions to maintain law and order. Now, helping the police force is Ruka, played by Eihi Shiina, a troubled loner who is very skilled in dispatching the engineers. And she's our main protagonist, and we follow her journey throughout the film. Now, this movie is completely insane. If the blood and gore in The Machine Girl was enough to fill a lake, the blood and gore in Tokyo Gore Police is enough to fill an ocean. And not only that, but the tone is a bit darker as well. I actually classify Tokyo Gore Police as a horror film, with some action in it, of course, primarily because it showcases a plethora of macabre, disgusting, body horror imagery. Remember, when these engineer characters are injured, a flesh metal weapon emerges from their flesh wounds. It's vaguely similar to something you'd see in Tetsuo the Iron Man, or one of David Cronenberg's body horror movies like Videodrome. So for example, at the beginning of Tokyo Gore Police, a man has his arm cut off, and a few seconds later a chainsaw emerges from it. Like it was made of both flesh and metal together. You know what I mean? And he uses it as a weapon to murder people. So this is some pretty crazy stuff here, people. That scene could serve, actually, as a big finale of any other film. But it's actually the opening sequence to Tokyo Gore Police. That's how crazy this film gets. There's also a sense of perversion and depravity on display that could rub some viewers the wrong way. The strip club scene is a prime example of this, since much of the body horror imagery in that sequence has a very sexual slant to it. Personally, I thought it was pretty fascinating and delightfully grotesque. Some of the things they show in this movie have never been done before, and really have never been done since this movie came out. And finally, a few scenes do play out very similarly to a slasher film, actually, so all of that together gives it kind of a horrific feel. Now, I want to point out, of course, that Tokyo Gore Police has a very comical side to it as well. Again, we see some influences here in the form of blackly comical commercials and advertisements that are shown that reminded me of the ones in Paul Verhoeven's RoboCop. My personal favorite is probably the wrist-slitting knife commercial because it uses cute schoolgirls and absurdly lighthearted presentation to sell this pretty macabre device. In addition, the sheer excessiveness of the blood and gore in Tokyo Gore Police has a similar effect to what Riki-Oh had on us. You know, another one of my favorite moments is the flying middle finger scene in Tokyo Gore Police. You know, it's so crazy, it's comical. That's basically what I'm telling you. Every time I watch this movie, I laugh numerous times. So despite the fact that it has a darker tone when compared to The Machine Girl, it still has that goofy cheesiness at times that takes the edge off. The action is very creative and fun to watch. For example, the way Eihi Shiina uses that bazooka at the beginning of the film, very cool and unexpected. The 30-minute finale is great stuff as well. A lot of the creativity in this is driven by that body horror imagery. But the one criticism I do have regarding the action in Tokyo Gore Police is that it does use more shaky cam and close-ups than what was used in The Machine Girl. I kind of wish they would have pulled the camera back a little bit more at times, but still a lot of fun to watch. primarily because of the horror content. Actually, the action scenes were directed by Tak Sakaguchi, made famous by his leading role in Versus from 2000, and he does a good job here overall. He actually has a cameo, too. And when you think about it, the premise of Tokyo Gore Police is very creative and interesting as well. You know, the villain inserts a key made of flesh inside people's bodies at different points that turns them into these engineers. So that's kind of very, the premise is pretty interesting too. The score is really good in this as well. It's very catchy and atmospheric. There's some good Japanese rock music here too. I could easily listen to this in my car while driving, although I have not been able to find the official soundtrack on CD or streaming or download anywhere. So if anybody knows where I can find the soundtrack of this, that would be helpful. And when all is said and done, I wholeheartedly recommend Tokyo Gore Police to you. If you would like to see a group of filmmakers attempt to pack as many wild, weird, perverted, grotesque combinations of flesh and weaponry into a single film. I mean, this movie's nuts. It's really nuts. But it is available on DVD, Blu-ray, and streaming in the United States. So if it sounds like it might be up your alley, it's a must-watch. And as always, I'll see you next time.